Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the WRRAP podcast with me, Lee G, and joining me as always is Jamie and Harley. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And joining us in the blue corner this evening from sunnier climes is Francisco Isaacs. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. I'm in Paris, in the city that everything is too big for my taste because the doors are tall, the ceilings are tall, even the trash compactors are tall. Everything is tall. I feel very tiny. I feel in Gulliver, like in that city that everything is gigantic, and I just don't like it. It's like this. I don't like to feel small. Please, I think everything's like Ibn Itzabeth. Like I don't want it Ibn Itzabeth. I want to go to my land.
Is the only man that can go to the World Cup and complain that the doors are too big.
They're tall. They're very tall. Everything is tall. I can't reach some cupboards. It's idiotic, but I can't.
Are you enjoying it though? Are you enjoying the World Cup?
Yeah. I think because of what World Rugby did with taking off the videos and everything from the social media, people cannot feel how the mood is or the vibe, but it's big. In Paris, you can feel people like every bar. There's a poster about the Rugby World Cup or more than one, and there's promotions and people are always watching the games or the replays. In the little city, Saint Etienne is not a big city. When I was this weekend there, I remembered like it was mostly Portuguese city, like Sintra. If you visit Lisbon, Sintra is very beautiful. But when the Wallabies and the Lobos fans invaded Saint Etienne, it was amazing. It's the energy that you feel on the streets. It's incredible. And well, the stadiums, and I've talked about on Twitter as majority is very fun, but outside of it, I just posted a video today when we were recording, and it was incredible. I think people should be happy with the World Cup. I know the organization is not the best. I think some journals and other people, staff have said that the 2007 World Cup was much better organized, but still, it's a massive World Cup, and I feel very happy to be in this party, and it's just perfect and amazing.
Cool. But let's start with drink of the week then, and let's start with you, Francisco. What have you actually been drinking, or have you been a good boy and have you been on the water and the Coke all week?
No. Well, on Saturday to watch the Fiji Georgia game and then Romania Scotland. I needed a lot of beer for that match to drown the tears because I like Romania and I'm quite sad what happened with them. But mostly have been beer because when you see the price on gin, which is my go drink, in the one bar I almost asked and it said, okay, sorry, I don't speak much, my French is not that good. How much is the gin? 20 euros. And I was like, no, you're not going to get my you're not going to get my liver tonight. You're not going to get my liver but mostly beer and good beer in France, which I'm shocked. I was not expecting good beer in France, so it's been it's the blondes, and it's I'm a brunette guy, but it's been blondie time at the drinking party.
So that was one of the things that surprised me when I was in Lyon. I didn't have any wine because the beers were gorgeous. That just like the selection of beer was just amazing. Apart from at the stadium, which was Asahi, which is really nice, but I was hoping for. Well, I just wasn't expecting Asahi to be the only thing on offer. Like there were no ciders. It wasn't like a bitter or something like that. It was just nope. Asahi or you have pop.
It's the main sponsor though of the tournament, isn't it? The Asahi beer.
Yeah, Asahi beer. I mean, it is very nice to be fair, so I can't.
It is nice.
I can't complain. Yeah. It could have been worse. It could have been like Carling.
Osters.
They don't even drink that in Australia, mate.
So Harley, what have you been drinking this weekend? Harley, what's your drink of the week, mate?
So for tonight, because I just fancied it, because it's one of my favourites, I've got a bottle of Krabby's alcoholic ginger beer. Because I like it. I don't have to justify myself to you.
Fair enough.
I can't remember the name of half the beers I drank in Paris. They were in Lyon. There were far too many, including some very early I did have a lovely pint of Guinness in Dublin Airport on my journey over to Lyon because our plane got cancelled the night before we flew out.
Yeah, you got diverted, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to go around the long way.
It's
Man.
not
I
fun,
wanna
is
echo
it?
what
It's not
Francisco said.
fun.
I genuinely loved my experience out in thing. I mean, the result helps. It definitely did. But I mean, as to do with some like the transport chaos, I mean, I don't think there was any, at least not for us, there wasn't any chaos in the transport. It was just there were so many people trying to get there, it couldn't cope. And frankly, it just made me feel like it was a proper home game.
It was like getting in and out of Cardiff. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Better weather.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not where. Jamie, I've seen the glass. I've seen the colour. It's either
What do you think I've got?
Orange squash by the looks of it, or something from Tiny Rebel.
Hang on, let me guess.
So,
is it going to be mango and papaya sour ale?
No. I mean, you're heading in the right direction. So, yes, it is a Tiny Rebel beer because we went to Tiny Rebel yesterday for lunch and I picked this can up as a takeaway because it's one of their new beers. So, this one is the Carolina Cobbler and it's a peach pastry pale ale, 5.4%. So, this is the first time I've tried it. And I'm going to be absolutely honest, I'm not a fan of it. I'm a little bit disappointed because I love peach. I love beer. This one I don't like. I've tried many peach beers, but this one just it's not doing it for me, I'm afraid. Bit of a shame now because I love Tiny Rebel, as you know, I love their beers, but this is the first one I've had and I've been a bit meh, you know.
Well, let's have a look at the let's have a look at the colour of it again, though, because it's almost
this is the colour.
Yeah, it's almost Uruguayan shirt, isn't it? It's almost.
It's very cloudy. Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah, it's I'm not fussed on this one, I'm afraid, but I will drink it because it's like £5 a can, so I will be drinking it all. But it's not what I'm keen on. I can tell you that now.
It's just not £20 a glass, €20 for a glass of gin. That could be worse.
I'd rather be sober.
Yeah, cool. So like I said, I went to the food festival a couple of weeks ago and I found the Little Goat Brewery. So this week's ale is called Scapegoat, which is a pale Antipodean IPA, which how we get an Antipodean IPA from Pontardawe, I don't know, but there we go. The guys at the food festival were really nice and they knew this stuff. Chill this one, don't chill this one, chill this one before, but take it out an hour before you drink it. And I'm like, dude, it's beer. Yeah. So, but it's a nice, decent ale and it goes down very well. So cheers to that, gents. Right, let's do some quick rugby stuff then. Let's do there was a little bit of news desk stuff, James, so let's quickly run through that on the warm-up games then. So what we got on the news desk?
Yeah, not much on the by the way of news. All coming from the Ospreys. So Ospreys have signed former Bristol Bears winger Toby Fricker. It is a return to Wales for the 28-year-old who joined English Premiership side from Ebervale in 2019, but he left Bristol last summer. Good signing for them. And meanwhile, the young players, Iestyn Hopkins, Will Hickley, Lewis Jones, Liam Edwards, Lewis Lloyd, and Alex Ashton have signed new deals at the region. So yeah, good news for Ospreys fans. Toby Fricker, I think, would be a good pickup. He was all right for Ebervale. He's pretty good for Ebervale, actually. And he did okay for Bristol. I don't think he had many opportunities for Bristol, but when I did see him in a Bristol shirt, he looked pretty decent. So I think that's a good pickup. But that's the only bit of news I got for tonight.
Okay. So let's quickly run through Scarlets and Cardiff and then Dragons and Ospreys. Harley, have you heard anything from the Scarlets Cardiff game?
So I've got a few points I've picked up from people who are there and general things. So the big one is Tinius De Beers looks like he's a perfect fit. He seems to be running all over the place and causing things. Set up a try for Theo Cabango, who, from everything I've said, people were saying Theo Cabango looks like he shouldn't be there because he's just a level above. He was just a level above everyone else. He just seemed to be having one of those games where it's like he should be up. It's because obviously both teams put out more developmental, experimental things. Wyn Jones seems to be being seen more as a tight head at the moment. I don't know if that's just to explore depth.
He's swapping.
I know he can swap, but
yeah,
it's interesting that they're leaning onto it more. Like it's normally been an emergency cover, not like actively trying to do it, which is a very clever thing to do with restricted squad budgets. I like that thing. Cardiff, apparently the lineup was running quite well with Shane Lewis-Hughes starting at second row for the first time in a while.
You sound shocked. Somebody threw into the line out of Cardiff and caught the ball.
Yeah. I'm sorry, am I supposed to go against everything else that's said in this pod about Cardiff? So the mauls are good. Apparently the scrum was a little bit of an issue, but considering how many different players and a new scrum coach who was renowned for marching backwards in scrums. I mean, I love Bubba, but he was not a good scrummager. And no one does it. It seems, about what you'd expect from pre-season friendly. A lot of people stuck their hand up. One interesting thing that seemed to happen is they moved Jacob Beetham to 12 quite early on as an experiment, and then had who was it, Harrison? Something Harrison, the one of the younger ones. So they had him pairing up with Arwell Robson. So it seems that they're really looking at a 10-12 dual playmaker access this season, which is a bit different. They've experimented it with Jared and Ben Thomas in the past, but I find Cardiff work better with a 10-15. But I mean, we've got to, these are the players we got. If we haven't got Max Llewellyn, we don't really have a big Bosch. Or do we? Based on a very cryptic message that came from Matt Sherratt about Willis Alaolo. I know, so that's all the things I've got from there. I mean, was it 21-12? It's not really a lot.
Something
I mean,
like that.
other than it being a lovely scoreline because it reads the same backwards and forwards. It's I don't know what else really you can draw from a preseason game. It looks like a lot of stuff was tried.
Some of it worked, some of it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know how it was the Scarlet's point of view.
So I know this next question is teed itself up perfectly. So Jamie, pre-season games, what do we expect and what do we read into pre-season games if you're an Osprey supporter?
Look, I think these pre-season games are good run-outs, aren't they? It's an opportunity to give minutes to players and just try out combinations, and it's just about just getting some flow and momentum and getting everyone, blowing the rust off, isn't it? But yeah, I will talk about. I know what you're referring to, Lee. Don't worry. And I will talk about that now. So so the Dragons beat the Ospreys 20-19 in a preseason clash at Ronnie Parade on Saturday. I really don't want to use this cliche because I hate it, but it really was a game of two halves. So Dragons were, to their credit, they were very, very good in the first half. We had tries from Ewan Rossers and intercept. Hell of a wheels on that kid. I tell you what, he's just as fast as his brother Jared. He's really, really quick. And Ollie Griffiths then scored a try. Ollie Griffiths was excellent. He only played 40 minutes, but he was really, really good. And that put them 14-0 up. Then the Ospreys hit back then. Jack Walsh scored. It was good work from Owen Watkin, made a good line break and put him in. So at half-time, it was 14-7 to Dragons, and the Dragons, deserved to be in the league. It was pretty decent showing in that first half. The second half, however, was quite scrappy. A lot of changes were made, it's fair to say. So the Dragons made 8 changes at the break. And in total, Dragons used 28 players just in this game alone. And it was really confusing to know who was coming on, who was going off. It was so many players just back and forth, coming off the bench, coming onto the field. It was really difficult to keep track with who was who at times. I know, Ospreys did make a number of changes themselves. So I wanted to see how many changes Ospreys made because I couldn't quite remember off the top of my head. So I went on their website, and for some reason, there's no match report. There's no match report to this game whatsoever. So bear in mind, Cardiff did a match report, Scarlets did a match report, Dragons did a report to their games. Ospreys didn't do a match report. So I don't know what the reason is behind that. It just seems a little bit lazy, to be honest. But they did live tweet, in the game. So I counted, going on their X account, they made 12 changes from what I could see from the X account. But in the second, I was very scrappy. It was disjointed, lots of errors, lots of changes. Dragons scored 2 penalty kicks in the second half, and that proved to be the difference. Now, Ospreys did score 2 tries. Max Nagy scored, and Lewis Lloyd scored 5 minutes from time. So it needed a conversion from Jack Walsh to put them in the lead. And well, unfortunately for the Ospreys, he made an absolute horlicks of his conversion. It was one of the worst conversions I've ever seen. It was way wide. It was awful. Donkey cheers from the terrace, which isn't nice, but it was a pretty bad conversion attempt. If they kicked that, they would have won, but he missed. And yeah, it was a bit nervy at the end of it, scrappy, but Dragons did get the win. Ospreys actually outscored the Dragons 3-2. But it just came down to those penalties in the second half. That's what clinched it, really, in the end for the Dragons. And look, I've seen some comments about, the penalty kicks. Ospreys fans ain't happy, taking penalty kicks in pre-season. To them, I say tough, because it's still a game, and it's still a game that Dragons want to win. It might be pre-season, but they still want to win this game for confidence and momentum. And there's no rule or law to say you can't take penalty kicks in a pre-season friendly, is there? And look, if you're watching the Barbarians, then fair enough. You don't want to see the Barbarians taking 3-pointers, but this was still a pre-season friendly. It was there to be won. The only reason they took those penalty kicks, by the way, is because the Ospreys' defense was actually really good. So they were hammering away in the 22. They weren't really going anywhere. And they had a couple of penalties, and that's when they decided to take the 3 points. So it's actually credit to the Ospreys for their defense that they had to take those 3 points. But, it was an enjoyable game. Pretty good attendance as well, 4,670, which ain't bad, for pre-season of Rodney Parade. So, a good start to pre-season for the Dragons, and it's away to the Scarlets on Friday night.
Just a quick thing. I just want to do something I never do, which is stick up for the Dragons. I don't know if you agree with Jamie, but I think one of the Dragons' biggest work-ons for the last thing is closing out tight games.
Yes, that's true.
Actually, then kicking penalty goals in that situation is exactly the sort of thing you want to do in pre-season, because it's practicing these game situations. I mean, another point, I'm borrowing this from Jed and Yestin on the attacking scrum the other day, but they pointed out that the problem is normally we do these pre-seasons against like it'd usually be like Zebra away, or it'd be a championship, so English championship side. So the result almost doesn't really matter, because you just see that as disconnect. Whereas we're having our pre-seasons against our biggest rivals, and it doesn't matter what's on the line or if there's nothing on the line. The psychological thing of getting the edge over your nearest neighbour is something that can carry you through to the season. Knowing Cardiff have won so many games just purely because we've beaten the Dragons so much in the past in games we frankly definitely should never have won. And if it was any other team, we wouldn't have won. But the psychological edge that it gives and the negative thing it puts on the team. So for Dragons, do you know what? Kick the points. Do you know what? If they started doing drop goals from 50 meters out, I'd be all for it. Because that's exactly the sort of mentality that team that the Dragon needs, because they just need to get used to winning. And they're not going to get used to winning by hammering the door and not scoring.
Yeah, and Luke Narraway said after the game, he said, look, I've been involved with games where, we've been in the lead, 70, 75 minutes, and then we lose it. So it was nice to see us clinch it out at the end. And, it only really got going the last 20 minutes, I would say. It started to get full throat the last 20 minutes, because Ospreys then really came into it. And you would tell then they stepped up a gear. Our scrum disintegrated in the second half, completely disintegrated. We made so many changes. It was a bit of a baptism of fire for young tight end Nathan Evans. He really did struggle, but it was an entertaining game. And I don't really buy into this argument you shouldn't take penalty kicks in pre-season friendlies. And for a team like the Dragons, we talk about to win games, it's important, isn't it? And you got to build that habit, and that's what the Dragons are trying to do here. So it's a good win.
I think Francisco was agreeing with you on that, Jeff.
I'm going to tell you a story about Portuguese rugby in the match that I played that we lost in the pre-season match, and the guy, it was against Direito, which was one of the best teams in Portugal, has now Jerónimo Portela, João Granata, and so on. And their kicker, who's a 10, every time they had like a penalty, went to the polls, and everyone was saying, "Oh, why are we trying to do new stuff?" and so on. He said, "Well, we didn't lose to you the last 5 games. It's not going to be in the preseason. They're going to lose to you because we're not going to the season with a defeat against you guys. So I'm going to take the polls every time. And if it's making you mad, it's working. So bye-bye." And we were pissed, and they won that match. And you see, it's how things are.
Yeah, I sit on both sides of the fence. If you're losing, then it's a shit thing to do. But if you're winning and you're the one sticking them over, then it's a lot of fun. So I see both sides of it. So we got a couple more games this weekend, domestic games. So if anybody wants a full rundown on those, it's an ideal opportunity to let everyone know that we've got some new podcasts to listen to. So we have the Dragon's Lair with Jamie, which launched last week. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, so just to quickly say about this, me and Gavin Thomas did our first episode last week. We didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't know if anyone was going to listen to it. Fair play, we've had really good feedback from it. The listening figures have been pretty decent, in fairness. And of course, a lot of people are asking when can we be on Spotify, when we're going to be on Apple. But I did say that Lee and Sports Social are sorting that out. But no, to be fair, I even had a message from C.O. Tomlinson, the Samoa centre who plays for the Dragons. I had a message from his brother saying that he was listening all the way from Auckland and he really enjoyed the pod. So that's good news. It is good news. I am going to have to be careful now not to slag CO off on the pod if he has a poor game, because I know he'll be listed now. But yeah, we've had really good feedback and I enjoyed doing it with Gavin, and we got another one planned this week. And yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good feedback.
Cool. So obviously, on top of the Dragons Lair, we've now got Scarlet's Fever with myself and Hugh Griffin, that many of you know, and that's working its way onto YouTube as well. For Hugh does all of that. I'm confused as hell. So Cardiff Central. So at some point, I'm going to drag Harley onto Cardiff Central, and he's going to work his wonder with Cardiff Central. But we got Yestin and Alid on there for the minute. And then we've got the Ospreys Eyrie. And for those that don't know, an eyrie is the name of an osprey's nest. It's the official name of an osprey's nest. So on that one, we've got Darren and Yestin. And then this evening, literally just before we started recording this one, we recorded our first Welsh language pod, which I said to the boys on this, I don't speak Welsh, but the boys that are doing it, which is Yestin and Carwyn from one from the Ospreys, one from the Cardiff. And they said, "Oh, what should we talk about?" I said, "Talk all you want, boys."
You won't understand it anyway. You can be talking about anything.
Standard fucking word you say. So yeah, I've got to up my Welsh language skills, but all of those will be available as part of the WRRAP family. And I'll make this call out one more time. So I really want to put together a women's pod, because I think that's the one bit of the family that we're missing. So if there are any women or people au fait with the women's game that fancy cracking it, do get in touch, because that would be perfect on that one. Right, let's talk rugby for this weekend. Let's talk World Cup. Francisco, what are you looking forward to most this weekend for the World Cup? Smile now. This is where you smile.
Okay, I'm pinching my face. Wait. Winning. In one word, win. I know if Portugal wins, it can put Fiji in a bad place and make the Welsh people very happy with it. But we want to win. I'm after losing against Wales, a draw with Georgia, and this loss against Australia, I think it's time for Portugal win. We compete. We show that we can compete, but after it's not only about competing. We are so close to making an upset, and it just shows. Last weekend with the Wallabies, if we're a bit cynical and more patient with the ball, especially in the second half, things could have turned for us. And I'm not going to go with ref talk because there's a lot going on, or the match official talk, not ref. But the team should have been more calmer in those moments, even if some things didn't go their way. But I was massively proud and I was happy. It was the vibe, the ambience, the mood in the stadium was unique. I felt at home. I felt completely in Portugal. I cannot describe to you how the hollering and from the Lobos fans was incredible. From Portugal, from the anthem, from very many chances we have. Even the Wallabies fans brought along a few chants, which were very nice. Apart from the booing Eddie Jones every time his face showed up on the big screen, for me it was a bit too much. But well, I get where they're coming from, and but it was incredible. And to see Portugal doing so well at this stage, for me, and for any rugby fan, it's what we want from the sport.
Oh, that's great. And you should be proud of them as well, Francisco, because Portugal are playing superb rugby. I mean, they really are a joy to watch, aren't they? You know, I think they're capturing a lot of people's hearts and minds. You know, everyone's buying into Portugal. It is just really, really good to see. So moving away from Portugal and that particular game, were there any other games that that caught your eye this weekend, or last weekend, I should say? What other takeaways did you have from this weekend?
Well, takeaways. I think we shouldn't have joked so much about the All Blacks. I think they are pissed with everyone. They're proper pissed. The smart thing was, after France would have been, or after Namibia, would have been to no one say anything and just let them die out. And because everyone was saying that Italy was going to win, or a major upset was coming, and All Blacks were going to miss for the first time the quarterfinals, I saw the press conference and they were proper pissed. I never saw the All Blacks so pissed in a press conference. Gee, it wasn't even Foster; it was the players. I think everyone went exactly to the place that we should have gone, was to their dignity. And you see almost 100 points to Italy. And it isn't a bad Italy side. It's a good team that knows how to play, knows how to defend. They were completely shell shocked by every time what they did, and that game caught my eye. Uruguay and Namibia was also a very good match, I think. Disheartening for the Namibians because they were so close to doing an upset, but Uruguay showed that with a bit more years and a bit more funding, I think they're going to be a certain T1 side that Argentina should really like to have them on their side. And well, most of the matches I really enjoyed. Last night it was good to see Pollard back in because I really enjoy seeing Pollard play. And I think Tonga, even if Tonga didn't excel at the rugby, you can see that something it's starting to brew up. I just hope that as the Fijians had with the Drua, Tonga can have a side in Super A Pacific, because Fiji played a massive game thing for them, and I think the URC and the new Super Rugby are the places to go. Top of 14 is a perfect league because the French are doing a lot for Georgian and Romanians and Portuguese and Chileans and so on, but everything it's coming to be. And those were the matches I really enjoyed, and I think we were very happy to have a full weekend of very good games.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking not about Portugal, because I was almost crying after what we were saying. So, Charlie, you could go in.
This one might be a bit of a more of a painful one. So as I said, I don't think we've got a formal script. It's all very loose, but just more of a one I've been thinking about. How do you feel the Tier 2 nations have gone this World Cup? I know we've still got one weekend left, but do you think I think for me personally, some teams have performed better than expected, some haven't quite performed. What's your overall thinking of standard? Do you think overall the case to have more game? Me personally, whether they've performed a bit better or a bit worse, I still think it's a case that we should play them. Tier 1 outside should play them more often. But just wondering what you think as a sort of someone who sees these teams a lot more regularly than maybe some of our listeners would.
So, three things. First, I've said already this in your podcast first time I came here. We can't only play against T2 sides every 4 years. I know there's more games going on. Georgia had very good games in 21 and 22. Also, and 23 they played Scotland in the warm-up for the World Cup. But Portugal, Uruguay, Chile, Tonga, Fiji, Japan is not a T2. Please, people, they're T1.
Yeah.
Let's not ride on that conversation again. And I think we need more games, more test matches. I know this is going to bring a lot of talk, but I am not against the Six Nations. Six Nations is a tournament. It's private. I've said this like a million times. People have to start reading and listening to the podcast. It's it's I was almost I almost cursed, sorry. So it's a private tournament, so let it be. There's the Rugby Europe Championship, which is very good competition, and it's streamed free, so you don't have to pay anything to see it. You just have to do. We have even a projector and maybe a fantasy this year. So there's, and South America has a tournament, so on. But we need the summer and the autumn windows. We have to have some type of competition, open World League. So T2, T1 sides play. There's no ring fencing. There's no blockade. Do whatever you want. Find a solution that the World League is decided at every 2 years. So it's not finished after 1 year. It's finished after 2 years. It can be a fun competition. You could have for regions, South America with the Pacifics, or Africa with, and Europe and Asia with Pacific, whatever. We can find solutions, but we can't close, because it's fun to see now the Lobos and the Fijians and so on. But after this World Cup, I fear that not you guys, because I know you like to sing rugby and to follow teams, but the normal fan won't see it because it's not on TV, or World Rugby stopped showing them on their channel, or Rugby Pass, because, and this is just a conspiracy theory from my part, because the guys in the upper ups, most of them don't want to share money with the smaller guys. This is everything in our lives, because we have now an elitist kind of players that, and they're now, if you are right-wing people listen to the podcast, you're now going to be mad with me, so you can fetch me in Portugal. But normally it's guys from the right side of politics world, because they are hyper capitalists and they don't care about the little guy. They just don't care, and they want just to bank another million. And if the sport bank go bankrupt, they won't go bankrupt, because they will have saved their money. And the union's coming down. You see with with England union, the CEO and the president, they're going to destroy most of the game, and then they're going to say goodbye, farewell, and they have won their money. Listen, I've saw someone post the bonus to win the championship was £200,000, and the President Sweeney's has almost a bonus of 400,000 a year. It's crazy. Well, I don't know where they want to guide the sport at this point, because the World Cup is being a massive party, but with the blockage from World Rugby for the videos and so on, it's turning everything down. I remember 2019. I remember 2015 was incredible. You had a lot of content, a lot of guys providing videos, and we weren't on the best moment of content rugby creators. We were in the startup, and 2023 was the first moment you had a lot of guys that have experience with the Premiere and DaVinci, whatever program you use, to do stuff, and we can't, because World Rugby decided you cannot do clips for 15 seconds or 20 seconds, and then kills the sport. I see NBA handball, they can do whatever they want. Rugby that is getting smaller by the year, no. Just World Rugby, and the broadcasters can do it.
See, this is what I like about Francisco. He's very, quiet with his opinions. He doesn't like to express something that's too controversial. We got you back on that one, mate.
Yeah. So just to move on, I just want to add just one point which occurred to me, that when you think that the women's game, the major women's tournament, because there's not really a huge amount, is once again Women's Six Nations. Who sponsors that? TikTok. Short format video thing, and that has been huge for growing the game. So Bill Beaumont and all the rest of them have gone, this has gone really well with all this social media short clips. We'll ban it. That'll do it.
That's how we'll sort it.
You know that meme from The Simpsons with the principal Skinner saying, "Am I the problem? No, it's the kid. The kids are the problem." It's exactly like this. Jesus, it's get off out of the office. We in Portugal we say a lot of this word. It's touch grass. So toca na relva. And you say also they have to touch grass. take the blazer off, put some Hawaiian Havaianas, and get off and see the people out there. Go have dinner with Squid. Have fun with it. Go with Rainlow to have a drink. Go with these guys and understand how we can grow the sport outside of the old type of content, because it won't help with the new kids. It won't. Seriously,
No.
it won't.
No,
And
absolutely.
Squid's videos, I don't know if you've been watching the latest Squid videos. So he can't show any footage now, and he's using stills from the games. Now, don't get me wrong,
Basically, yeah.
there's still brilliant videos. Squid does a brilliant job, as we all know, but it's crazy, isn't it? You know, and credit to the URC, they don't do this. They allow their clips to be shared.
Yeah,
So I
encourage
can't
it.
understand why they encourage it.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because they want people engaging. Rugby annoys me because it's a sport that constantly shoots itself in the foot. You know, it really does harm itself. What is the harm in letting people share these clips? You know, because you're growing engagement, you're gauging interest, you know, spread the word, spread how brilliant these games are. Spread these clips of tries. I just don't understand World Rugby. I think they're bonkers, you know. It's just self-defeating, isn't it? It really is.
Let me just add something quick. You have seen my fantasy videos, right?
Yes.
You saw what the direction I had to go with the foods and the dances and so on. The views dropped. I knew that this from the first minute, because most of the normal fan wouldn't get why I was ranting with the things we got with, and I tried to put just a small clip of Sosa Guedes running with the ball in the World Cup, and it was immediately struck down like this in a video that had a lot of foods and so on. So it's incredible how precise it can be with this, but trying to make the women's game go bigger, for like 10 years they couldn't find any solution. But it's incredible. These guys will be perfect in like 70 years ago, trying to not allow people to show their genitals on the movie, because no, people cannot watch it. Someone is smoking, take the cigar off, or we're gonna destroy this movie. These people are perfect for that age. That age has moved on.
It's frustrating because there's so many brilliant content creators out there who can spread the word of rugby far better than anyone at World Rugby ever can. You know, there's some really brilliant content creators on YouTube, and the fact that they just kept getting shut down all the time, it's just
But if you're in charge, if you're in charge of marketing the World Cup, and you've got a whole load of people that are going, I want to help you market the game. I want to make the game look sexy. I've got a whole load of people that will watch what I put out there, and it's all got your logo on it, and it's all got your advertising and your branding. So you're getting multiples for free, and they're sitting there going, no, we're not having that. We're not having that. We demand to pay for our advertising. It doesn't make any sense at all. Go on, Harry.
The advertising's not that great. Literally, one of the few adverts I've seen is, I don't know if you've seen the William Hill. Francisco, you've probably like there's going to be, but obviously they've got William Hill's on an advert. They obviously couldn't get the licenses, so it's a very badly pronounced Welsh national anthem. So we're doing a bit of a Flower of Scotland, and then Fields of Athenry, not even Ireland's cool, and Land of Hope and Glory, not God Save the King. They're all in these, like, the right colour, but the badges are like, so it's just like a generic Welsh sort of looking badge. It's not the three feathers, which, you know, so people think. The Scottish one is just, I think it might just say Scotland in it. Apart from the fact, clearly the guy who's doing Welsh and the Irish guy have clearly never sung the spoken Welsh or sung in the Irish Fields of Athenry before, because they have no idea how to do it. Because I think you completely mess up the pronunciation of it. It's just like, but so that's the most of the advertising I could see. But the weirdest thing with Squidge being copyright blocked is, will Rugby actively get Squidge to do videos for them? In 2019, he did a video series with Elmer Schmidt. Like, what? And they're like, right, this guy we know can do work, so we're going to stop him.
It's ridiculous.
Just me.
Seriously, these guys should apply for the Tory party because they'll get in no problem.
Yeah, let me just
Let's get political, is it?
No, we can get political if you want.
Because I don't mind. Yeah, just hope there's no Tories listening to this. That's all.
Look, if there's moderate Tories, that doesn't exist anymore, because if you are Tory at this moment and you still support them, you are just completely nuts. Sorry to say it. But the problem is World Rugby can't make deals with the broadcasters, and and we should know why. Why can't you make deals with the broadcasters? Answer this question. It's simple. Why? Because you sold the rights 5 years ago without looking what was in the print. If it is it, explain to the people. So it's not just like amateur thing of blocking everyone. It's just completely crazy. Hardly Squid. I just don't get how Squid was completely shut off of this, and it's not only Squid. It was everyone else destroying. It's like killing the sport just for fun. I've seen people say, no, because we cannot let people stay on the social media only. They have to see the games at home. Listen, if the people doesn't know the World Cup is going on, because it's the new fan. We have already bought our ticket to the World Cup to see it. We are rugby fans, but we now need new fans, new kids, new adults, and they need to see the games. And today to see the games, they have to social media, see Nuno Sousa get step in, or then Bigger doing a drop, or Jorge Ferreira doing a drop, or RDCV running 60 meters with Welcome to the Jungle, or something like that. This is how you sell a sport with video games and so on. And everything we can do with this, we didn't completely otherwise. I love the URC because of it. There's no shit around. You can do whatever you want to the footage. Just bring new fans home. And that's it. Because Super Rugby lost a lot of fans the day that we couldn't share their footage. The NPC, which is a brilliant league that they have in, you don't have any highlights on Twitter or Instagram. Nothing. How can people even talk about something that only the official accounts share it? It doesn't work like this these days, and they know better. But because they pay so little to the little guys inside of their staff, the guys from the comms and the marketing, they don't get to understand what they're doing wrong.
It's a shame. It's a real shame, isn't it?
So
one thing I missed just before we move on. I know we want to move on, but just remember, because the one thing I absolutely miss out, I really miss, and it's a shout out to Jared Wright. So he does rugby bits, writes for Rugby World and stuff. He's
South African, isn't he?
Yeah, South African. He does gift drops of the game, and they're genuinely better than highlights, because you'll pick up funny things, like they'll do a funny, like, it'll be Trevor Nyankane sticking his tongue out, or it'll be an absolute masterclass of the scrum or beautiful ball and stuff. And it's things like you wouldn't normally see on a highlights package, because highlights package would be, here you go, his last part of passes a try. Whereas, he'll show up like the lead up to it and like all the bills, and there'll be several angles, or it'll be big hits. And literally, like, I found that was how I'd ended up watching a lot of the BOK tests during the Rugby Championship, because I already pay for my license. I pay for Viaplay. I pay for BT Sport. I can't afford to pay for Sky Sports on top to watch Rugby Championship Super Rugby. So that's how I caught up with those games, just by watching his gift drops and watching the highlights. And I found the gift drops gave me a much better sense of how the game went than the highlights do.
Yeah, he's worth a follow on social media. Is Jared, right? So I urge anyone who's listening to this who don't follow him, because he's really good content creator as well. Yeah.
Right. So let's move on. So we've got a big weekend coming up for everyone, but in particular Wales and Georgia. It's a big game for Wales, even though we qualified for the quarterfinals. Team's been released early today. You've got to say that's a fairly strong team to go up against Georgia. There's a little bit of niggle left over from last autumn. So yeah, Francisco, what can we expect from Georgia this weekend?
You can expect a hurt Georgia that know that is the last chance to strike a win in this World Cup, and they're going to try it. I think they finally found their mojo against Fiji. Learned some from the mistakes they did against Australia, mainly against Australia, not against Portugal, because I'm going to keep saying that Portugal is as good as Australia at the moment. So kill me if you want.
Yeah, we'd agree with that. Yeah,
we agree. Yeah.
Okay. But Georgia against Australia kicked a lot, and it just destroyed that game plan that worked so well with you. It was, I know 1 year ago was a very physical match. It rained, so it wasn't easy to play, but they were more in tune in the set piece, and its set piece crumbled a lot with Australia and crumbled against Portugal. Against Fiji, they found again their mojo, and I think they have nothing to lose. And it's good to see Wales putting up almost their best team. It shows that the T1 sides, or most of the T1 sides, are not playing around. They at this moment they're going all in and going to try to get the biggest win possible, or at least I think the thought that the Wales has is let's not try to allow them to make a big upset and possibly ruin as the first spot on Pool C. So I don't know if Merab Sharikazi, their captain, is going to play. I'm for sure that Lasha Jayani is not going to go to the pitch because he broke, I think, his foot, or it was an ACL. It's still not being divulged what was it, but he went out in the little cart that takes the players out in the well, the word is missing now, but Lashainen is not playing. Merab Sharikaz is out. Pekka Grogazi didn't play already with Fiji, and they had to get two new players because Modebase also was seriously injured in the last minutes of the game. So they're going to put almost their best 23, but if Sharikazi doesn't play in and some other guys don't recover, Fiji going to have a bad time, and on the scrum mainly.
I was reading the comments this morning from the Georgia attack coach, Joe Worsley, and it's fair to say that Georgia do have some injury concerns, don't they? So he said this: it will be interesting to see how far we've come against Wales, because a lot of the guys who will be playing will be second or third choice because of injuries in the last 2 weeks. It's going to be difficult. So, yeah, it is going to be difficult for them, isn't it, Francisco? And, who really should we be looking out for? Are there any sort of unknown gems in this Georgia team that you think could really damage Wales and have the potential to cause problems for Wales in this fixture? We know of one player, don't we? We know the obvious one.
Well, you said a lot of things, and now I'm very nervous to answer them. So choose to make a question, dear sir, because I won't put Georgia in a bad place at the moment. So ask one question.
Ask one question. Okay. How difficult is this going to be for Georgia, given their injury problems? And do you think they can make life difficult for Wales despite their injuries?
I think they can make life difficult for Wales. I really think. I don't know if they're going to make life hard for Wales for 80 minutes, and that's you don't win games by playing 40 minutes. Well, Australia did against Portugal, but we are the ones responsible for it. And there's other teams. For example, Fiji only played well for the last half hour against Georgia and won because they clinched in those moments, and Georgia was a bit unlucky in the end. But also they ruined two big chances in the end to win it. I think Wales is going to win it. You are more relaxed, more or less pressured. Georgia's pressured to get a result from this game. They have nothing to lose, but it's nothing to lose with a lot of pressure in it. It's different from Portugal, which they don't have nothing to lose, but no one was expecting us to get a win. And I think a lot of people, including myself, was expecting Georgia to get at least 2 wins in this World Cup. And they are on the verge of exiting it without what they mostly want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they're going to do you problems. But after 60 minutes, the bench they have, it's not their prime replacements. It's like second choice, mostly second choice replacements, and that's going to pan out in favor of Wales.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good answer.
No, that's very good. I apologize if I confused you with my question.
No, because I try. I went already to 2 podcasts, and everyone did the nice thing to avoid talk about Romania because it's a very tense and complicated
Yeah.
subject. And Georgia, I don't want to put them in a bad place because I really love them, and I think they were unlucky with some of the games. Rugby is like this. I think they should have been more patient, but the problem is the set piece. We remember how Wales went with Georgia last autumn, and the set piece of the
Yes.
Georgians were incredible. It was perfect. The scrum was perfect. In this World Cup, sometimes it's completely perfect, and other times looks like they can't withstand the other side. It's strange. There's a variance of quality that it's not normal in the Lelos, and I think with Wales, uh, it's going to be the same. Now, if they finish better, strong the second half, maybe they can do an upset. But I think it's going to be the otherwise. They're going to start very strong first half, and then they're going to end the second half. They're going to break.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Wales's selection just shows how much Gatland, probably in a way Pivac necessarily didn't respect, how much Gatland actually respects Georgia, because it said when he's gone for a full team, part of that is because otherwise some of these players wouldn't have played the 3 weeks. But I mean, the fact is he didn't have to stick Nicky Smith on the bench, who's ostensibly one of our strongest scrummaging loose heads, because he knows the potential that can happen. Even a second, third choice Georgia is Jordan Prop is going to be decent in the scrum. So I think he is they're being a little bit more respectful than perhaps, because Pivac basically skipped over the Georgian game to the Australia game during the autumn, and they played like it. So it's quite good stuff. In terms of players, so obviously everyone will know like people like Niniashvili. I'm guessing hopefully he'll play. Are there any others who maybe not necessarily in the first team, but who you've seen playing for Black Lion, or someone who might come in that might be one to watch out for?
Well, I think Mr. Wario Tachiladze is going to play. So the man with a beautiful stash. You've seen my meme about it, right?
Yes,
You've seen it.
It is spot on.
I can share it here. I'll find it and I'll put it here. But Gaga Tachiladze, so this the man with the stash. I think what he brought against Fiji was incredible. 25 tackles and 2 turnovers at the breakdown, and 4 dominant tackles, which is big for the 32-year-old. I would say Luka Matkava. I know he has some problems kicking the ball around, mostly to the poles, but he is just as elusive as Niniashvili. He's crazy. If Wales gives him a bit of space, you're going to have a very, very bad time because he's very quick and he takes his chances. I would say that Kavaseladze, so the center who's subbing, no, he was starting with Charikadze against Portugal, so he's going to be massive against you. And I'll say also the prop, Becca Gigashvili, which is like I was standing beside him when Portugal played after the game, and he's just like a block of cement, like this big, and he looks like a Fijian, but in Georgian. It's incredible, like big, strong, knows how to play. He's quick and works well on the set piece. So those would be my picks for Wales, for the players you should watch. Of course, Liniashvili, which is just ludicrous what he does with over ball, and I think they're gonna. I think they have to have this mindset to have a good match against Wales and maybe almost win it or win it. They must have fun in the game, because if they stop having fun, they're going to lose. Because Wales at this moment, and I think all the Welsh fans should see this. Welsh players are having fun playing under Gatland again. You can see the players like to play. They want to play around the tactics and so on. They are joyous about it. And I think Georgia against Portugal, against Australia, and just the last 10 minutes against Fiji, or the last 50 minutes, but those 65 minutes against Fiji, they were having fun. Every tackle, they were laughing or like intense. So they could feel the team coming around. Everything went nicely. I think for this match, if I could talk with Georgia, would be have fun. Really, it's not the last game you will have ever in a World Cup, and this is just the middle of the road. So please have fun. Don't think about anything else. Just have fun.
It's one of those things that you don't often see, isn't it? There's players smiling on a pitch. So yeah, it would be nice to see Georgia having fun, but hopefully not too much. So let's wrap up with a little bit of what we're expecting from the game and the prediction. So Jamie, a quick kind of 2-minute summary of what you're hoping for from the Georgia game, and then your prediction, please.
Well, I like a win, obviously. A bonus point win would be handy. Just to say, I really like the team the Wales have picked. I'm glad that we've gone relatively strong. So it's 6 changes from the side that beat Australia. And we talked about this with Simon Thomas, didn't we, on last week's pod about making changes, but not too many. We do want to make wholesale changes. But if you look at the changes we made, you know, I think they're pretty good changes. I think it's right to give Jack Morgan a rest because he needs it. And I've seen comments of people saying, why are we playing Liam Williams? Why are we playing Zammit? You know, why are we playing Faletau? But I think people need to remember with Talupe Faletau, he didn't take part in any of the warm-up games. He didn't take part in, well, some of the training camps. And he needs game time. And Gatlin said, the more game time he gets, the better he will be. And we saw that, didn't we, against Australia? He was looking back to his best. So it's absolutely right the Faletau's played. I am expecting the Wales win. Like Georgia, I've got a lot of problems. Joe Worsley said it's going to be second, third choice players. I don't think it's going to be a massive blowout. I'm not going to predict a blowout because the last time I did, it did not go to plan, did it? So I think Wales will win by about 10 points. I'm going to say 10, 15 points, somewhere in between that. But yeah, I do think Wales will win. And I think we'll top Pool C. And now be Gatland proving his doubters wrong yet again, because so many pundits, so many experts said we were not going to get out of Pool C. It was supposed to be Australia and it was supposed to be Fiji. Wales were given no chance by a lot of people. And yet again, Gatland's going to work his magic and get us out this pool and win in Pool C. Happy days.
Okay. Harley, what are you expecting and what's your prediction?
I think going on, just sort of backing up on what Jamie said with like the changes, they all make sense. So Adam Beard went home to see his but you know, because Biff is child, so you know, and congratulations as someone who's still living on the high of being a new dad. It's I wouldn't have missed that moment for anything. So you know, it makes sense. David Jenkins coming on to the start and then turns to the bench. You want to rest Morgan just because you don't want to burn him out because he's just been going so hard at it. Yes, and so it makes sense then to bring Lake in to start, and also gives some of these players a bit of extra game time, because if there is an injury in the quarterfinal, some of these players won't have played since Portugal. I think I've already alluded to Smith on the bench. I think is just a worry about the scrum in the second half, because Domachowski is a decent scrummager, but Nicky Smith is probably the best scrummaging loosehead in Wales at the moment.
Yeah,
so, that makes sense. And then if you've got Anscombe starting with Cassell on the bench, it makes sense to have a centre on as the 23, and with Dyer coming in to rest Adams. It all makes sense. Like Jamie, I don't think we can have a blowout, but I still think it should be a bonus point win. 15 to 25. I'd say it's not quite a blowout, but it's good. I think it'll be comfortable, even if it doesn't necessarily look it.
Okay.
So I think a bit like the Portugal game, I had no doubt we'd win, but it was just getting a bit edgy of the bonus point. I think was the sort of situation I was going for there.
Yeah.
So before I asked Francisco for his predictions, he's just shared the images with us. So they're definitely going on social media. I've seen one of them. I haven't seen all of them, but yeah, I'm loving
Dick
it.
Dastardly is. I'm loving Dick Dastardly. I might make that a profile picture.
It's
for a few
absolutely
days.
amazing. And the fact that you're laughing at it yourself, Francisco, when you've obviously seen them more than once says how good they're. So your predictions for Wales Georgia then, my friend?
I would say 38-27 final score. No, let's say 45-28. I'll up a bit for Wales because I think Wales will have a very good finish.
Okay.
I think that'd be a cracking game if that's the score.
Yeah, because they have nothing to lose. This is a final match. So what do you have to lose?
I'm looking forward to the fact that Australia have got to stay until Saturday. They can't go home early. They have to stay just in case something miraculous happens. So they have to stay and watch all those games on Saturday, and all of the boys are going to be sat there with their bags packed and the axes out and the evil eyes at Eddie, and Eddie Jones is going to be cowering in the corner going, oh, fucking hell, boys, leave me alone. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to on Saturday. And the Wales game, you know, I think the pressure's off in terms of, you know, we've qualified, and that's usually where we stuff something up. That's usually where something goes wrong, where the pressure's off. So I get good going with the team that we've got. I really don't know what kind of game to expect, because I think we have got an eye on the quarterfinal, and you know, what kind of game are we going to play in the quarterfinal. I think if we end up playing Argentina, Georgia just before that is probably a good warm-up, a similar sort of side, you know, a decent pack, decent kind of set piece with the ability to turn stuff on. I know Argentina haven't done that so far, but they've got the ability to turn it on in the background. So
they did look a lot better with Sanchez, who is a fly half, playing at fly half, instead of Carreras, who's a winger playing at fly half. That's one for a friend of the pod, Hugh, for that. He's been moaning about that ever since they first started picking him.
He's right.
Oh, I agree.
So
he doesn't even like playing fly half, according to some Gloucester fans I know.
So my prediction is Wales by 15 points. It'd be 30-15 or something like that. I actually think Georgia will do really well, but I don't think it'd be a high scorer. So anyway,
whilst we've got Francisco on the pod, do we want to do Fiji Portugal, or shall we?
I don't know. I don't think the question is, do we do? I think the question is, does
Francisco want to talk about it? Because there is a slight chance that Portugal could finish above Georgia and Georgia would be fifth in the pool. It's a very small chance, but it is possible.
Well, I drink some water so I can cry a bit if you want. I mean, hydrated. But yeah, I think that's the thing that scares Georgia and is exciting Portugal, is the chance that you can still go for fourth place. And it's going to be massive. I think Portugal-Fiji can be one of two games. You can have the A game, which is going to be electric, fantastic, with the teams trying to open the ball, giving a very good fight at the set piece and the breakdown. And we have like 6 tries to 5 or 7 tries to 5 until the end of the match. Or you can have a very physical game, a lot of ball lost on the contact in the gain line, and a low score like from like 2010, which wouldn't be a great game playing wise, but will be a very emotional match for both sides. So I think if Fiji does the same thing they did with Georgia, they're going to have a bad time with Portugal. The thing is Portugal finally going to take their chances and score the tries when they are inside the 22 and be patient, or they're going to do the same thing they did with Wales, Georgia, and Australia. That's the thing here. I've just tweeted while we were recording that Nunes won't play, so the fullback broke his arm against Australia. Now, thank you, Mariki Koribetti, for that shoulder charge. It wasn't a tackle. Whatever you want to tell me, I'm not going for the match of decision, but it wasn't a tackle. Sorry to say, he just went like a ballistic missile, and for me, that's not allowed. If he wants to do on the Rugby League, he can go to Rugby League, do it. Rugby Union shouldn't be allowed, but okay, it's done, and he's injured and so on. So we're gonna have Manuel Cardoso Pinto, which is almost as fantastic as Nuno Sousa. So he doesn't have that much of a good kick, but he's very exciting with the ball in his hands. So it's going to be a massive. I really want to see who Fiji puts on, because they don't have time to rest. And I think Simon Hawavai, if I'm saying the name wrong, sorry, but he can't rest players. If he rests players, he's giving Portugal a chance to do an upset. And I know he needs just 1 point, but I've seen teams on football losing championships and premierships because they put on a team and they just needed a 1 point, 1 goal. It's better not to play around with teams like Portugal, Georgia, or Uruguay. You should go full on with them. So let's see. I think it's going to be a massive match. I just hope we're going to have the tricolor that everyone wants.
Cool. Fantastic. Well, it's going to be a cracking weekend of rugby. I know that. I shall be stocking up on a few extra tins of Pringles because my stress eating will go through the roof this weekend. So we will finish up on the important bits. Yeah, the whole point, the whole purpose of the World Cup. So firstly, Fantasy League. So top of our Fantasy League, we've still got Precariat on 3,315, 3 points in it between him and Sir Dumpelot in second place on 3,312. We're a fucking mile off the pace, boys. We are so far down the table. It's unreal. I'm in 45th. I think.
Had a Lazarus style recovery. Thank you very much. I am on a late charge.
Late, late. I mean, Christ.
I went from 66th to 37th. That rate, I'm going to be top by the final.
I went from first to 45th. I was first at the end of the first week. I'm in 45th now. And my boy is 20 points ahead of me. He's 2 places ahead of me, so he's 20 points ahead. But I did just load it just now. So Jamie, I think you're in 68th. Carwin is in.
Yeah.
I think
Wait,
Carwin's
sorry.
doing best of us.
Can I just what is the league? I want to join in to see how bad I am.
We'll send you the link, and you can do the
What's
the
the
last
name?
little bit.
Just say the name.
It's the Rugby World Cup. Well, it's the official Rugby World Cup.
It's the one. Oh,
Yeah. Well, this is in our league. This is in the WRRAP league that Carwin set up.
oh.
But propping up the table is B. Calder on 53 points. So it could be worse.
Did not change their team. They
Yeah.
set random and just left it.
Somebody forgot their logins after the first round. So finishing up then on Hair of the Week. I mean, I thought it was quite disappointing Hair of the Week. And then Tonga turned up last night. And the winger looked like he was wearing some kind of porcupine wig. I thought it was amazing because he had like two-tone hair, and like everywhere he went, his hair was all over the place. I thought it was amazing. And then one of their props, had what I can only describe as a reverse duckbill. He was like short all over the top and dark hair, and then bleached blonde out the back. But it was kind of like coming out, and it looked like a giant duckbill coming out the back. And when he was running, it was flapping up and down like this. I thought it was just, top class. So they're in my top hair standings for this week. Although I was very disappointed up until the Tonga game, and then hair replaced itself. It was good. It was good. Right. I think we're done for tonight, gents. I think we're all finished for another week. So, a massive thank you to Francisco for this evening, my friend. I thought we've been absolutely fantastic. It's been a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime you want. And whether you want to talk about beer, rugby, or politics, you will always be welcome, my friend.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I think it's because I'm in Paris and the revolution. I'm already a very left person. I'm not a communist and so on. I'm a social left guy. But being in Paris and feeling the vibes of the French Revolution, I just want to set a fire and destroy something.
Set a fire.
I need it. I don't know why, but it's something is calling it to me. Maybe tonight I'm going to set a fire somewhere. Where's World Rugby headquarters? Sorry.
Ireland.
Oh shit.
Well, you can do Welsh Rugby Twitter a favour if you develop it, because it's the same building as the IRFU.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure wanting to set fires all the time where I'm from is called being a scout.
I would love to set a fire. Like Eddie, I was on the press conference. So just let me just finish this. I was in the press conference yesterday with Eddie Jones and Porecki, and someone asked to him like 5 times what his plans after the World Cup, and he at some point was like, "Mate, I'm not going to answer that. And then a journalist said, "Okay, then I have a question for you." And say, "Come on, mate, what do you want to do? Negativity again? No, no. Why are you going to watch a Fiji game? Because I would like to have a beer with you." And I say, "You would like to know that, mate." Well, just it was quite fun. It's so he didn't want to set someone on fire in that press conference. He wanted, yes.
Oh, correct.
Thank you.
Gents, on that, I'm going to give you a big round of applause for tonight, Francisco, because I thought that was fantastic. So thank you very much for tonight, gents, and goodbye.
Good night.
Bye bye.